What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, after the news that Elon Musk successfully purchased Twitter and has made the decision to integrate Doge as a key aspect of the entire ecosystem, many people have become extremely bullish. Now, because of this, we have seen its price go up over 100% just in the last 4 or 5 days here, and many people are saying that Dogecoin could be on its way to $1 once and for all. Now, although all of these things do sound absolutely amazing, we're starting to see some very clear signs that things may start to, okey doke a couple people here. And so for that reason, I wanted to give just a few warnings and just a couple things that I'm on the lookout for that could be key indicators that people may need to just slow down just a little bit. Now, one thing that I do want to make clear is that whenever there is something that in the macro sense or even on the back end of a crypto that is influencing its price, technical analysis isn't a predictor. You can't go ahead and say, oh, the price is going to go up to 50 cents because of this news, because whenever you look at technical analysis, it's a basis off of investor psychology. So if something changes psychology, it changes the price, and technical analysis doesn't necessarily predict that. But what we can do is use technical analysis to understand what's happening at that moment to start to get ideas of what the price is doing and if things are starting to get a little bit overbought or underbought or overextended and things of that nature. So looking at Dogecoin here, what I'm starting to pick up on is that things are starting to give a couple warning signs that the first pullback could be on the way. Whenever cryptos start to finally see growth, right? Whenever they start to really go up, even if it's based off of news, they never just go straight up. They never do. Dogecoin is not going to do this straight up to $1. It's not going to, right? More likely, you're going to have to see a couple waves. You're going to have to see the ups and the downs. You're going to have the people who've been down this entire bear market that finally see some gains here that are going to take some profits. And then the buyers step back in and push it up. Then they start taking some profits and push it up. It's not going to be just a straight up process. These pullbacks do happen. So what we can see is that there are key warnings that pullback may be on the way. First of all, let's start off structurally with what we have right now. Now, of course, this daily candle has not closed, so by the end of the day, it may look different. But what we can see right now is that we've entered into a zone of bearish liquidity. This little zone between 13 and 17 cents has clear bearish liquidity as we have these wicks. Wick here, wick there, wick there. And if you look at the 4-hour charts, we've just been struggling to maintain within the zone as we are starting to see the momentum go a little bit more sideways. Now, for that reason, that is an indicator to me to say that we're in a position in which, we can expect, unless the bulls can just really step in and push back above like 16 cents, that the price is very, it's more likely than not to see a little bit of a pullback to the downside. Now, we can further confirm that with our 4-hour RSI here, in which we are seeing a strong drive of bearish divergence, in which, as you can very clearly see, a set of lower highs here on the RSI, and then we also have the higher highs being set on the price. This is not to say that the price cannot continue upwards, but what it means is that once this RSI starts to show signs of a pullback and that it's setting these lower highs while the price is setting higher highs, even if this thing does make one more push up towards 16, 17, 18 up here, it's very likely to see the hard correction to the downside to start to run back in tandem with this RSI here. This can even be further confirmed on the daily RSI, in which you can see that although we did get the wick, right? We got this wick up here in which we set a high into a higher high right here. We were not able to do that on this daily RSI. And this just tells me that, hey, things are getting a little bit overextended. The bulls cannot keep up. We're in a bear zone of liquidity. Likelihood is we will probably get a pullback towards the downside. Now, there's a couple other things you can look at here. One of my favorites is the daily Bollinger Bands. And that just goes to show that we are extremely overextended, and typically speaking with Doge, every time we get outside of this Bollinger Band envelope, we see a little correction, little correction, little correction, little correction, little correction, and it happens over and over and over again. Look every single time. Even here, it took a minute, right? We got overextended. We waved into it a little bit, but then we eventually did see that pullback, that eventual pullback. And so for that reason, I would be foolish to say that this thing is not in a position to see some type of pullback relatively soon. And my guess is it could come where, I would say anywhere between this 8 to 10 cent area would be my guess, right? I mean, that's all I can do. I obviously have no idea to, where it's going to go. But if I, again, had to guess, I would assume somewhere around this area, maybe come back test this previous point of resistance here, which is also the current point in which I would assume this 20 SMA is going to interact with. And it seems like a pretty decent position in which we could see a little bit of a nice little pullback, finish off this one wave, put in this two wave, and then start to look for growth there. Now, lastly, the one thing I do want to look at is our weeklies. And yeah, so our weekly Bollinger Bands are also extremely overextended. And this is another one that has a very strong track record of seeing pullbacks once we get overextended. Overextended, pullback. Overextended, pullback. And I mean it's pulling back to this 20 SMA on both directions. Overextended, pullback. Overextended, pullback. And then obviously here, even though we did get a wick, we held in it for a little while, we eventually did get this pullback to the 20 SMA. So my guess here is we're probably going to see a pullback relatively soon. And the people who are going long right now on leverage are putting themselves in a very risky situation. Again, it could just take off. Very well could. But I'm saying the odds of that happening are slowly decreasing, and it seems like if it's going to be a healthy growth for Doge here, it's going to need to pull back relatively soon. So that's what I would be betting on. If it does go ahead and break through the top side here and get some daily closes sitting right around, let's say over 16, right? If it gets over 16 cents, starts to hold some daily closes and go sideways or something like that, and we finally see a full reset on the price in which it just goes sideways, then my opinion may change a little bit. But until then, we are still in a macro downtrend in the bigger, the grand scheme of things. You can see here, we've not been able to come up and set this new higher high yet. And so we are still setting lower highs. And until we start seeing these higher lows and higher highs, we need to just be cautious, okay? And so for that reason, even if some type of, inverse head and shoulders or something like that is playing out here, it seems likely that we will get that pullback and then the continuation can happen. So with that said, that's going to be about it for today's video. I just wanted to issue out a couple warnings. Things are looking overextended. I'm a Doge fan. I like what they're doing. I'm surprised that they made it this far. And so for that reason, I have no reason to judge it. I hope that those of you who are in it make a lot of gains. I'm going to dollar cost average a little bit into it if the situation is right, because if it is integrated within crypto, it is going to be a big deal. And so for that reason, don't take this as hate of any sort of any form, but I do believe it is important to be rational even in times of FOMO. And so for that reason, that's the point of today's video. But with that said, if things do shape up a little bit better and things start to get a little bit more appealing, I will update you in a video very soon if you would like. And all you need to do to let me know is simply just smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you all next time. Peace.